All right, guys, is a crossbow really a bow? And should it belong in the archery season? That's what we're talking about today on the Archery Project. I am your host, Zach Lasika, and I've got Kevin Dooling back in the house. Did I say it right?
You did. It's great to be back, Zach. It's great to be back.
Dude, I'm glad you're here. I know you've had a rough night.
Yeah.
We were just talking about it. Actually, pretty interesting night, though.
Yeah.
2 5-hour energy drinks, a Monster, and now a Mountain Dew.
Yeah.
Interesting.
We're here for it, you know?
We're amped up. This is an important topic.
Yes. It's big right now, of course.
It is pretty big. And the reason this, is important, I think it's important even if you're not a crossbow hunter, right? So there's constantly guys who are for this, who are against it. And it's something that we just want to talk about. And I think it's important to be up to date on new laws and things like that. And one of the big ones is coming out of New York. And this is for fall 2025 this year, where they are now allowing crossbows for the entirety of the season, right? For the archery season. And I've got a couple notes on it. It removes any of the older constraints, right? There was limb widths, overall lengths, maximum draw weight. So now the only thing that you've got to have with a crossbow, it's got to have a minimum draw weight of 100 pounds and a working trigger safety.
Right.
So it removes any of the constraints, which I figured as a whole, I mean, that's like a standard. But, interesting though, we actually I had a guy who came in here for a crossbow service. He removed his safety from his bow because it was interfering with him.
Oh, sure.
Which is insane to me.
Right, yeah.
And then it says, so there's no limb width restrictions, no maximum draw weight. Still, same thing. You cannot discharge crossbow within 250 feet of a home, school building, yada, yada, yada. But essentially you can run a crossbow all season now. And there's a lot of people that are for that. There's a lot of people that are against that. And I think it depends on how you approach it and what you look at as a whole. But it is interesting because, like I said, it's brand new. And I think from what we've seen or what we've observed here is there seems to be an increase in people getting into hunting and an increase in people getting into crossbow hunting in particular. What do you think? There's a lot to unpack.
Tons.
And I've got a whole lot of questions that we're going to kind of go through. But I guess one of my things is just looking at it. I mean, what are your thoughts as far as crossbow versus vertical bow? I mean,
well, I guess, I wish everyone would just pick up a conventional bow, at the end of the day. But at the same time, I understand its purpose and how it can be beneficial to growing hunting. That's really the pro in my mind when I think of crossbows is how can I introduce someone to hunting that, maybe they decided to pick it up in the middle of the season or whatever the case is. I think a crossbow is great for something like that, but I think it's that you just need to make that switch eventually,
Yeah. And I go back and forth. So I've got some buddies that that's all they do is crossbow hunt. And they're some killers, man. And I think part of the reason where crossbows get a bad name is some of the individuals that get into hunting right out of the gate with crossbows, right? They don't take. It's a last minute thing, right? When you think a bow hunter is typically somebody that takes time. There's preparation. They're methodical. They think through. They understand rules, laws. They do a lot of prep work prior to the season, right? And when we look at crossbow sales as a shop, right? I own Extreme Outfitters. We sell a lot of crossbows. Crossbow sales typically are in September.
Right, as the season's starting.
The season starts in September. So what happens? What does that equate to? That equates to guys who are just getting into hunting. They walk in, they buy a bow. They have no familiarization with that weapon whatsoever. They come in, they buy it. It's set up. Setting up a crossbow is very, very simple. And then they take it in the woods that evening and
attempt
right to go hunt. And I think that's where the bad name comes from, right? Just because it's a lack of preparation. It's a lack of, getting ready for the season. These guys are very not all, and I'm not saying all of them, but this is what we see a lot of when it comes to.
Seems to be the norm.
It does. And these crossbows now are very technical, right? You got bows that are putting up speed 515 feet per second, right? And there's a lot of energy stored in these bows, and there's a lot of steps to shooting these bows, right? For example, a lot of these bows have transitioned to a crank system, right? So you got to crank this up with a system. It's not just a rope cocker, pull it back, load a bolt, shoot it. You've got to put it on fire. You've got to push the FDL to release the tether to go down to get to the string. You've got to latch it on the string. It's got to go automatically engage into the safety. You've got to put your crank device in it. You've got to crank it all the way up. You've got to back turn it 3 times. You've got to push a clutch. You've got to remove and stow the actual handle. You've got to make sure you load your bolt with enough force so that it clicks, and then you can fire the bow. So there's a lot of steps, right? What we're seeing as these bows evolve and become more complicated is more of these bows are in our shop blown up, or there's an issue with them because one, it's a last minute thing. People are buying them last minute. They're not reading instructions. They're not watching videos on how to use them. They're taking them out in the woods. They're not familiar with their equipment. And then there ends up being a problem, whether they somehow bind up the internals, all kinds of stuff. So I think that's where the bad name kind of comes from. I'm not against crossbows at all. Like I said, I've got friends that shoot them and very successful with them, and that's how they choose to, or that's what they're limited to. What do you think? I mean, as far as like, I know you talked about it. I mean, it's a great way to get people into the sport. But
certainly. Yeah. I mean, it is frustrating, cause like as a hunter, as a bow hunter, and I'm sure you can sympathize with this too. And we talked about this in the last episode is preparing throughout, not just before the season, but year round. Right. So how is it fair that I practice year round? And we get into archery season, and the benefit of having an archery season is like, oh, you get this extra time to hunt because you became proficient with this and it's harder and all this other stuff. But then, somebody can come into the shop and buy a bow, and then that afternoon they're ready to rock and roll. It kind of takes the point out of it, in my opinion, as far as archery is concerned, the ability to hunt during the archery season. So that's where I'm kind of like against it is, I don't see how that's equates, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. And there's a lot of your traditional bow hunters that argue that it dilutes the meaning of archery season.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's a really great way of putting it. It dilutes the season because realistically with a bow, when you're in the woods and you're hunting, right, there's a lot of factors and a lot of variables that are working against you as a bow hunter, right? One, you're close. You've got to be extremely close with a bow, right? That's the difference between that and a rifle. And I think crossbow is that in between. You can really shoot some distance accurately. Some of these bows are shooting 1 and 2 inch groups at 100 yards, which I know dudes with bows that can do that, but they're doing it consistently. Your average Joe can do it. But as a bow hunter in the woods, you have to be able to identify an animal, range, know how far that animal is, because the trajectory on an arrow is not as flat as something that's shooting 500 feet per second, 450 feet per second. So you've got to know your ranges. And then the big challenge is getting the bow back.
Right. The movement.
The movement's
huge.
That is involved to draw a bow is a critical part of being a successful or non-successful bow hunter. If you've ever bow hunted and you've had a deer come in, if you've never had a deer bust you drawing a bow back, you've probably not hunted very long.
Right. It's probably first season, right?
Exactly. Right. So that's a major part of bow hunting is being able just to get the bow back, acquire your peep sight, put your sight on that animal, and then make a good shot.
A lot more steps, obviously.
There's a lot more steps. And with the crossbow, you pre-cock that, it's loaded, it's ready to go. All you've got to do is put that thing on fire and pull the trigger.
Right.
So a lot less steps. So I could see that as being a potential issue with people that are true bow hunters that say it really dilutes what archery season is.
Right.
Is it just a rifle with strings essentially?
Well, I mean, with 500 feet per second, we're inching in that direction,
It's wild, man.
Yeah.
But I mean, there is, from what I read, there's a bunch of states that are starting to loosen their restriction on crossbows. So, I mean, is the hunting demographic is it good? Because it does get more people into the woods. I mean, that's one thing that you can argue about it, right?
Right. And that's my pro, for when we're talking about crossbows, it's like, and obviously the hunting community is dealing with, we're always going to have those challenges of, other, people that are not involved with hunting that are trying to take our hunting privileges or rights away from us,
Right.
animal rights organizations and stuff like that. So us saying, I am for hunting, but I'm not for the way that you choose to do it. I think that's counterproductive.
Right.
That's kind of my pro argument for it. And it's like right around here, for example, with running dogs. I don't like the fact that people run dogs. It's just not my way of doing it. I wouldn't do it ever personally myself, but I'm never going to be like, I'm for hunting, but I don't think we should be allowed to dog hunt. And I'll put crossbows in there as well. I don't want to take somebody's method away from them, because I think that's just taking another step towards getting, losing our hunting rights eventually one day. So
yeah, as I was driving to work this morning, that was one of the things that I was really thinking about is, we need more hunters, right? Because we need more people to advocate for hunting. And this is another way to get people into hunting. And then we have more people on our side. We look at state land. You have more people that are, like you saying, advocating for hunters' rights. And that's important. And we're outnumbered already,
yes,
with anti-hunters. So when you look at the crossbow gives more people an opportunity or presents, or more people are looking at it as an option to get into it, right? They're not limited to just rifle, just bow. Now they have this other option, which has been around for a while, but it's opened up more. There's a lot of people that are really interested in crossbows.
Right.
I mean, because of TV shows and stuff. I mean, that's how it piques people's interest. And the fact that we have more people able to get into it is good.
Right. Yeah, I've got one of my buddies down in Florida. He has a lot of clients that he brings down to Florida, and he's in real estate. When he brings clients down to Florida to buy houses or whatever the case is, he takes them out to his hunting club, and he's got several 10-point crossbows, and he's introduced probably 20, 30 people to hunting, and some of them have gone back home and gone to their local archery shop and either bought a crossbow or a conventional bow, but that's just the way that he was able to get people into the sport and interested. So
yeah, I think it is a great way to get people into it, because especially like that, you as a guide or a hunting service, like let's say you provide all the equipment, right? You have guys that just show up, which there's some services like that. You can't have people just show up and put them on a vertical bow.
No.
Literally impossible. Mm-hmm. You'll have more wounded animals or blown up bows or
right.
hurt people than you could ever imagine. But the crossbow allows you to do that.
Right.
You literally get it. It's pre-sighted in. You put your crosshairs on it and pull the trigger, and it's going to do what it needs to. So, I don't know. When you look at, but with the crossbow side of things, there's so much more technology. But you can have that same argument for a vertical bow, right? When you got your traditional bow hunters, they're like, you shoot a compound bow, you're not a real bow hunter. And I see where they're coming from as well, right? Because they're shooting a stick and string. We're shooting a bow that's got a sight on it. It's got cams. It's got let off. You're able to shoot an arrow, a heavier arrow, much faster. So the technology has advanced with vertical bows.
It's sort of like the halfway between a traditional bow and a crossbow, really.
Dude, it is. Mm-hmm. So when you look at that, at what point does archery season lose its meaning because of that? You know, where do we draw the hard line? Is there a hard line that needs to be drawn with this?
Right.
Does crossbow, like, okay, yeah, you can only shoot a crossbow, that's fine, but your season is the last 2 weeks of archery season, or it's post archery season with muzzle loader. Because I'm pretty sure that's how it was in some states, right?
Yeah, a lot of them, for sure.
A lot of them, it's you can't shoot a crossbow with vertical bows. It opens up during like muzzleloader season.
Right. Yeah. And when I was a kid in Florida, you were not allowed to hunt with a crossbow. Period. You had to pull a disability permit in order to do so. And I think the only time you could actually hunt with a crossbow was during the gun season. But I think I don't know when it's happened, but you can hunt with a crossbow in majority of public land areas and stuff like that now in Florida. So another step in that direction, you know what I mean? So
yeah, I know it's and like I said, I'm not against it whatsoever. I've got a lot of good buddies that shoot them, but those guys too take things serious though. It's not a last minute purchase for them, and they it's justifiable, right? They enjoy shooting them. Some of them have shoulder issues. Like for a fact, they've got true issues from, prior service, whatever. And that's the only thing they can do. And they tried. I have a really good buddy. He tried going the vertical bow route, but you look at his shoulder, there's this crazy knot he gets on it that swells up with fluid.
Oh my
so
gosh.
he had to get rid of his bow and go to a crossbow.
Yeah.
And he loves hunting.
Right. Yeah.
And he's like, I'm not going to give up hunting just because I'll go to the weapon that I can utilize.
100%.
But he uses it all season.
Yeah. No, and I get that. This older dude that I know in Indiana, he's like one of the greatest people I've ever met in my entire life. You know, he's like 90 some odd years old now, but that's his method of hunting now. You know, now that he's really old and up there. And as far as like, you know, telling people they can't use crossbows, whatever the case is, really going to tell us 90-year-old dude he can't hunt anymore during archery season or whatever. Yeah. I think it's a little silly.
And that's where it comes to the disability and the, you know, the age factor, right? I mean, are you only allowed to use it for that? Should it be state? Is it, you know, state dependent? I mean, I don't know, man. It's a tough argument. I would say people that only use crossbows, if they want to really change how people view crossbow shooters, they're going to have to change the way they approach their equipment in hunting. I think would be a really good starting point.
Right.
That's not a dig on them because they're not all like that, but we just see a massive amount of people that are very last minute. They buy this bow and then they're just wandering through the woods, bumping deer out for guys that have spent their entire, you know, postseason scouting and setting up and prepping. And then you've got a guy that's just wandering around with a crossbow that's loaded and walking around on land. And
which is safe. And I'll give you this one too. Like when I was living up in Indiana, my dog, I use her for blood trailing and stuff like that. She became real popular up there. And one thing I took note of when the word got out there that my dog was, you know, finding deer for people and stuff like that. I took note of the fact that, you know, a lot of the phone calls I was getting when people were asking her to come out and blood trail, I noticed a majority of them were crossbow hunters.
So let me ask you this. Is it because they had a higher success rate is getting on deer and getting a shot opportunity? Or is it because
the only thing my guess is they had the opportunity, sure. But I think it was, they weren't prepared. They didn't practice. They weren't efficient with the crossbow. And there was a lot of high shoulder hits. There was a lot of really far back hits, you know.
So that's interesting you say that because some of these new bows are so fast, right? And shooting a compound bow, if you strap a fixed blade broadhead to that bow, you'll notice you can get wild arrow flight if you don't know how to broadhead tune a bow, right? Some of these guys are shooting these super fast bows with these big fixed blades on them, and they're not testing their equipment prior. They're strapping a broadhead on, they're going to shoot it right after shooting a field point. And because those bows are shooting so fast, those bolts are flying all over the place.
Right. And it's nothing to have, 2.5 feet, at 35 plus yards, 35, 40 yards with one of those big fixed blade heads.
And that's shooting 285 feet per second versus 450 feet per second.
Right. It just amplifies.
It does.
Even more. So, but yeah, that was one of the things I observed when, I was doing a little blood trailing up there with my dog. It seemed like a lot of the calls I was getting was for crossbows.
Interesting.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. And like I said, I wonder if that's because one, they had more shot opportunities because they didn't have to draw a bow back. Or if it was just a lack of preparation and lack of understanding equipment and not knowing how that bolt is going to fly when they put a broadhead on there.
Right. Yeah.
Because I know for the most part with us, we're putting anybody that comes in here that's shooting a crossbow, we recommend a mechanical broadhead.
No, it only makes sense,
But I mean, yeah, we've had some guys that swear by a fixed blade, but I'm like, man, this bow's shooting so fast.
At least test it.
Yes, because again, it comes down to being proficient with your equipment. You need to know exactly how these things are performing. If you go out and shoot a rifle and you change bullets, you're gonna have to re-zero that gun. You need to do that with your crossbow as soon as you change heads.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's interesting. Does it give hunters too much of an advantage using a crossbow versus a vertical bow? I mean, does it? It's definitely more advantageous.
Right.
Just solely based off not movement wise. Right.
I mean, I can over the last 3 years, I can tell you that, if I had a crossbow in hand, there's a number of bucks that I could have killed.
I say that with a gun.
Right. Yeah. Had I had a gun or a crossbow in hand, but just due to the, I needed that deer to come a little bit closer. It didn't come within 50 yards or whatever the case is. And that's kind of getting back into that argument of like, should these things be, considered a rifle,
Right.
so for input in that season.
Yeah, I'd be curious what some of the listeners say. I mean, are you pro? Are you against crossbows? Like, what's your input on it? Is it good? Is it bad?
Right.
Like I said, I'm very curious to see.
I would imagine a very passionate debate.
It's like the mechanical versus fixed blade, but at a whole nother level.
Right.
Because there's some people that just don't tolerate it at all.
Right.
And then some people, I think, look at it from a little bit different perspective and understand the need for it for some.
Right. Yeah. I'm kind of an independent, I guess, like you.
Yeah. Like I said, it's just, I think it just comes down to the individual for me. And like I said, I don't care what you hunt with as long as you prepare and you are fundamentally understand the weapon that you're using, your weapon of choice, how it operates, how it performs at different yardages. That's my biggest thing.
Yeah.
So
I'll tell you what, I'll be honest. I do have a little bit of frustration each year when you the Bow Hunters of America Facebook page, and you'll see, people during the archery season just laying them out, there they are with their crossbow. And it's like,
I don't think you can categorize those as the same as vertical bows.
No.
Like those kill, it's a crossbow kill. It's not a bow kill.
Right.
I don't think you can interchange those. Like it's two wildly different pieces of equipment that require different skill sets. You definitely have more advantage with a crossbow when it comes to shot opportunity by far, I think. But with that, you have more shot opportunity, right? So one of the arguments potentially is if a crossbow increases accuracy and leads to quicker, cleaner kills, isn't that more ethical than a marginal compound bow shot?
Maybe, but kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier. I don't know. It seemed like a lot of the deer that I was chasing, blood trailing in Indiana were crossbow hit deer.
Yeah.
So I guess it's more accurate when you have it, sitting on a table and you're not in a hunting environment, but.
Yeah. I mean, I would definitely say that more people are successful with crossbow is easier. But I also see guys with vertical bows who are equally as irresponsible.
I know.
So
it's frustrating.
It is frustrating as a whole. I mean, because like I said, as a shop owner, I feel guilty. We can only do our job is to set you up as best we can, make sure you are comfortable and you are confident with your equipment leaving our shop, right? That's what we do. So when you come in to buy a bow from Extreme Outfitters, there's a full, for example, vertical bows. There's a full tuning process, a build out. We build your arrows. We tune the bow. We put you on a range, teach you how to shoot the bow, get your bow sighted and out to 30 yards. You buy a crossbow from us. We show you how the bow operates. We show you the ins and outs of it. There's still a lot of steps that you need to brush up on.
Right.
We put you on the range. We help you get the bow zeroed. You're out the door.
Yeah.
But you still have to practice with that equipment, right? We can only do so much as a shop, right? I can't do the hunting for you. Whenever you buy a bow from us, you tell me that, I'm going out this evening, I feel guilty. I can't tell you otherwise, right? And I never will, because I don't know your experience. But typically the ones that are experienced aren't doing that. I feel guilty sending people out the door who tell me they're going to go hunting this weekend with a brand new bow they just gift shot. Like, I feel like I'm doing a disservice to the animals.
Certainly.
Out there. But it's outside of my control. Like I said, I understand my role within this thing. My job is to provide equipment and provide as much information as we possibly can. And with that, we still try to educate people on hey, maybe you should spend some more time behind this before you take it out and hunt. But some people you're just not telling.
Right.
So
they've already got it set in their mind.
They've already got it set in their mind. They're going to go out and they're going to try to shoot this thing at an animal and kill something.
Right.
Which to me is a big responsibility, right? You're trying to take something's life.
100%. 100%.
So I feel it sometimes whenever I see guys go out the shop that day, and then they're like, hey, we're going hunting tomorrow. I'm like,
make sure you put a few bullets through her when you get home.
Yeah.
You know?
or your bow, make sure you shoot that thing. Because
Right.
like I said, I see that, I'm not going to say equally. I see it a lot with vertical bows as well. People who just, they just don't understand that there's a shot process. There's an understanding of how this thing works, and, that you need to spend time behind it to be proficient with it.
Yeah. And I've heard the whole, people say, well, I can hit a pie plate at 20 yards. And it's like, oh gosh, you really need
That's on a flat range.
right. Like you need to bring her in there a little bit, but that type of individual, I think, is never going to go away. They're always going to be around.
Right.
So, and I think it's one of the cool things about having like a podcast like this is that, somebody might be listening to this and go, oh man, maybe I should spend a little more time, and maybe I do owe it to the animal.
Yeah. And it's no hate on anybody, right?
Right,
We
no.
all have different upbringings, different backgrounds, and view things different. But I think it's important that people are educated on the equipment side of things, right? If you're going to get this and take this out to try to kill something, you need to be efficient with it.
100%.
And you need to know how to use it to
Yeah.
its fullest potential, because it's different shooting your bow on a flat range under no pressure versus being out of a hang on or a saddle, and you've got that adrenaline dump, and you're trying to, hold on target and shoot this animal in the woods where there's all these different objects potentially in the way.
Yeah, you might be at full draw for a minute and a half.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And you've got to have that ability to calm down and take a good, clean shot,
Right.
and have everything go as best as it can. Because on a vertical bow, every input is either going to have a bad output or a good output, depending on the input that you put into that bow, whether you're torquing that riser, you're punching that trigger, a whole host of things.
Right.
There's a lot of variables, man.
Yeah.
So it's a lot. It's definitely an interesting conversation. I really haven't seen much conversation on crossbows. Like,
Yeah. Why is that? It seems
Not-
like we have it in the shop a little bit.
yeah, but I mean, I don't really see these like a good back and forth, not a completely one-sided argument.
Yeah. Usually it's just like a bash,
bash
one way or
fest.
the other. Yeah.
Yeah.
Either like super pro or like, oh my gosh, like totally against it. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, I mean, because when you look at it, do crossbows level the playing field for women, older hunters, and those with disabilities, or does the advantage compromise the spirit of the archery season? Right?
Yeah, and that's the thing. I'm sort of a middle guy there,
Yeah.
and I feel like you're kind of a middle guy too.
I am very, because I get it from both sides.
Yeah.
Right? I'm a very passionate bow hunter. Like, vertical bows is all I shoot.
Right.
That's all I've ever shot. But I also understand the need for crossbows. Right. Especially, I'm a big proponent of like kids.
Oh yeah,
It's a great way to get kids into the season early, shooting a bow. And if you educate them properly, they're gonna take it serious. They're gonna go out and shoot. You're gonna take them. You'll practice with the bow. I think it's great. It gets people in early. Like I said, it goes back to the more hunters we can get involved in hunting, the more people we're gonna have to advocate for hunters' rights.
Right.
And I think we're a big. The archery community and the hunting community is big on eating its own.
Yes. Yeah. And think about if they were to be like, if some people were to have their way and we were to get rid of crossbows completely, I think there are so many, conventional bow hunters out there that got their start, from getting invited to go out on a hunt, or they won a hunt, or whatever the case is, and that hunt just happened to be with a crossbow, and then they were like, well, this is really interesting, and their interest in the sport, flourished from there. And it doesn't have to be a forever thing, but I think if we got rid of crossbows, I think you'd be kind of cutting off some people's entryway into what we love to do.
Yeah, I agree. I think that, like you said, it's a great segue into it, and I think the guys that get into it and really fall in love with it, it opens their eyes to other. They're not limited to one type of hunting, right? So a lot of them, it opens their eyes. So like, maybe, I want the challenge. I want more of a challenge. So that's where they get introduced to the vertical bow, the compound bow, or the traditional bow side of things. Because we see a lot of guys who went from super advanced technology compound bows back to traditional bows.
Yeah.
Because of the challenge.
Oh, 100%. Like I think we talked about it last episode. I shoot tried stuff all the time at home, But I'll tell you, one thing I forgot to mention, is that I've seen before, and this was pretty prevalent with some of friends of mine that I had up in Indiana. They started with conventional archery tackle and then made the swap over to crossbows.
Interesting.
Well, this is what kind of makes me a little bit frustrated with the kind of like my anti-crossbow argument was, talking to these guys about like, hey, why are you getting into the crossbow thing? And their response was, well, it's easier, and I can take these 100+ yard shots, and all these reasons. And it's like, I don't like that. That's what I don't like about the crossbow thing for sure. Especially if you're able-bodied. I personally, I wouldn't be able to look at myself in the mirror. You know what I mean? Really? Probably not. I don't know. But.
Yeah, no. I mean, I get that side of things too. But I mean, are you saying just because? So it just makes it easier, right, to kill an animal?
Yeah.
Right. So that's their excuse for going to it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because they were. I mean, I think they were just growing impatient. They were seeing a lot of deer that were
just out of reach.
Just out of reach. You know what I mean? And my answer to that is, well, hunt them better. Make a move on them, whatever the case is. But their response is, no, I'm going to sit right here and I'm going to lob that bolt, to the other side of that ridge,
Which is crazy to me. I don't think, like, I guess so to an average or not an average person, somebody like us who lives and breathes by bows, right? We shoot bows all year round. I don't think I have a reach advantage with a crossbow personally. Mm-hmm. I don't, but right. I do think it makes it, because we shoot a bow a lot. I think I can shoot a bow very accurately out to distance, repeatedly. And with a crossbow, I don't feel like, knowing the capability of the bows, like, I get it. You could shoot at 100 yards. I can shoot my bow accurately at 100 yards. Right. That crossbow, yes, it gets there faster. I would never comfortably take probably a 50-yard shot with a crossbow.
Right. Yeah.
There's no way.
There's a lot of variables.
There's so many variables. Mm-hmm. I don't think I get much of a reach advantage with a crossbow personally. I do, however, think somebody that doesn't spend a lot of time behind a bow mm-hmm. or shoot often does have a reach advantage with a crossbow.
Right.
It's just easier.
100%.
30-yard shot with a crossbow is going to be cake compared to a 30-yard shot with a compound bow.
Right.
Especially if you don't ever shoot.
And like the way that I hunt, I hunt real thick, so most of my shots are within 20, so
same.
I really wouldn't have that much it wouldn't be very advantageous of me.
Me neither.
To do that. So, and I can hit a pipe lead at 10 yards with my compound. So
crushing it.
Yeah. I'm a responsible archery hunter,
Oh yes. So what do you think? I mean, I know for us, as far as like our compound, because I was just looking at social media the other day and there was somebody that posted a meme, or it was an image, and it was like, there was a picture of a crossbow and someone's like, this is not bow hunting. I mean, why do you think everybody is so upset about it? Is it just the technology, the advancement in it, just because it's like, all right, you shoot it, there's no drawing it back? I mean, do you think that's the biggest complaint, or do you think it's the people actually shooting the bows?
Ooh, probably the first one. Yeah. I think a lot of bow hunters get really frustrated, and I see their point, because it's kind of my point too sometimes, that it's like it's just not the same, you know what I mean? There's not that it doesn't take the effort to become proficient in it as conventional archery tackle, so.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing.
Yeah.
So do you think from your opinion, so there was restrictions in New York. Do you think since they've opened it up, it's a mistake?
No. I don't
And
feel
yes.
good about that. Like, I don't feel good with that answer, but I say no because I know there's somebody in New York somewhere that would really benefit from this, and it's gonna provide them the opportunity to get in the woods that otherwise they never would. And you know what? If that impacts one person, then so be it. That's my opinion. So,
yeah, I think I'm on board with that. There's going to be some people that don't like that, which I would just encourage people to be more open-minded about it, right? It's so, I'm so back and forth with it, because I see so much potential good with it, but I also understand the frustrations that come along with it.
I tell you about frustration. I mean, there was a giant buck taken It's called the huff buck. You ever heard of the huff buck? It was killed one county over from where I lived in Indiana. And I mean, it was a mega giant, well into the 200s, right? And it was killed with a crossbow, you know, and it's like, well, you know, so as like a very passionate bow hunter, you know, I'm sure you can sympathize that it's like,
that's frustrating.
it is frustrating because it's like, golly, you know, it would be way cooler if you killed it with either a compound or trad or whatever the case is.
The trad guys are saying every time they see something with a compound bow, they're like, psh,
yeah,
that would be
try
really cool.
it. Try it with a stick and string. You know,
I'm with you, man. It's hard.
Yeah, I know.
It's hard. You got to be a talented individual. I need a little bit of an advantage, which.
Right. I've never killed anything with my trad stuff, you know, so usually I'll hunt with it for a couple times and I'm like,
that's enough.
This is too hard. I'm going back to the wheels.
See, there you go.
Right,
Look at
right.
it. There's the argument, right? I need the training wheels back on. You know, I want something that makes it a little bit easier.
Right. Yeah.
You know, then at what point are we just killing them with what, atlatls and spears?
Yeah.
You know, where do
like the
where do we draw
Wells thing? You know?
Where do you draw the line as far as technology goes? Like, where does it advance to? At what point is it too much?
Right. And I mean,
look at look at some of the sights now that are on vertical bows, the Garmin sights, right? You can range it at full draw. I mean, is that too much? They're not legal in all states, but they're legal in a lot of them.
Yeah, I mean, that's you know, when I first came into archery, if you were to told me that one day,
back in my day,
you know, back when the iPhone 4 was out, you know, if you would have told me that there was going to be an archery site one day that would range and then set like your dot for you like that site, I'd have been like, no way, you know, get real. Well, here it is. And it's actually kind of an older site now. I mean, they've been out for like, what, 5 years now or something
at least. They're expensive too. And like you shoot it, you can drop a pin where you shot. I mean, you can go back and track using the Garmin apps. I mean, at what point is technology too much?
I mean, yeah, it's crazy. Did you see that new app, that blood trailing app?
No.
Oh my gosh.
What is that?
It's an app on your phone that you download, obviously, but it literally, like, it's a filter on your screen, right? And it literally picks up blood. So you just hold it out in front of you and the blood glows right in front of you. It's crazy.
So that's exactly what I'm talking about.
Right.
So there's the argument. Is there too much technology? Does archery need to go back to just stick and string and then they have a vertical bow and then which falls in line with cross? Like, where do you draw the line? I mean, we're talking about sites that are self-ranging. We're talking about apps that you can track blood. You got apps for, you know, weather mapping.
Right.
I mean,
we have drones recovering deer.
Thermal drones recovering deer.
Which I think is kind of cool, but, you know.
It is, but it's another step, right? It's I mean, there's good with it, but there's also bad that gets used with it, like anything else, right? With good comes the bad.
Right.
You know,
the hunting industry has exploded with these innovation. Like when I was a kid, thinking about a trail camera that sent pictures to your phone
live, right?
Live.
So that's another thing you can look at, trail cameras. Where are trail cameras too advanced to where you don't even have to go out? You set it, you wait, and you can read it, and you get real time data, and then you can make a move.
Right. Yeah. Back in my day, we had the old Primos ones that were like this big.
You had to pull cards.
And the batteries were the giant things, you know.
Never worked.
Only last a week.
Yeah.
You know, you get 100 pictures on that before you had to go change the SD card, you know?
Yeah. So, I mean,
where does it end?
Where does it end?
Right.
Right. I don't know where it ends. I think it's important that we get more people into the hunting community, but respectfully into the hunting world, right? To where they understand that what they do is important, that it requires preparation, and that they're respectful to other hunters and the animals that they're hunting, that they're just not out there slinging arrows and bolts.
Yeah, and we've all seen that a million times.
I don't care who, what, from gun hunters to bow hunters to crossbow hunters across the board, you see that.
Yeah.
People trespassing, running dogs across properties. That's not theirs.
Around here.
Very big. I mean, I'm not a dog hunter. I have. You ask me, I'd rather dog hunting have its own season. You get X amount of time for dog hunting, no more dogs.
Yeah, and it should only last 6 hours.
It should only,
right.
Know, that's me. But I know that's not that. There's a lot of people that really enjoy that and they're passionate about that, and that's fine as long as they're, you know, respectful and doing right by the rules and laws that are implemented and advocating for hunters. You know, they're a vital part of the hunting community as well.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, no hunter, you know, whether they're into the dog thing or the crossbows or whatever their method is, or whatever their opinion is on any of these things. No hunter goes to bed at night thinking that their method is the wrong way to go. So, got to be open-minded.
This is very true.
Yeah.
People, they'll fight you tooth and nail over why this should be this way. And
right.
Versus,
here's why I'm right.
Yes, that's it, man. That's why I want to have this podcast and be kind of open-minded and see what your thoughts are on it. Because you've been hunting for a long time. You've hunted a lot of different states. You've seen a lot of different things. You're also involved in law enforcement.
Yeah.
So you see a lot of things, and you're pretty open-minded to it, and not open-minded to it, but just in general, the hunting community.
Right.
So we could have a good conversation about it, but that's where I really question it. Like, is the technology side of things. Like, where does it end? At what point do we got a GPS locator on a bolt or an arrow, and you can find exactly where, that arrow is, that instead of having to go search for? I mean, I don't even, whatever else.
I don't think you're too far off. I mean, think about it. They put a battery inside of a nock that illuminates the nock. I mean, I guarantee you within 5 years, we've got some sort of device, and within an arrow that's what the Apple AirTag, like that technology's easy.
So yeah, think about it. You got an arrow that's stuck in an animal, and you're trying to track this animal, and you can just track it if you didn't get a pass through, via an app on your phone.
Right. I don't think we're that far off. It sounds far fetched, but
no, it doesn't. Not now.
Yeah. I mean,
dude,
as a traditionalist myself, it might seem that way, but.
Yeah, I don't know. And I think, too, the draw to crossbows is they're cool, right? They're neat.
Yeah.
I mean, and you see them so we saw so do you remember what's called The Walking Dead?
The show?
The show.
With the zombies?
Yes.
Heck yes.
So do you remember? That show's been out for some time now, right?
I never watched it, but I know what you're talking about.
Okay, so what's his name uses a crossbow in it. That had a massive impact in crossbow sales.
Did it?
Yes.
Kind of like Homegirl in the movie.
Yes.
What's her name?
Kat.
Yeah.
From the Hunger Games.
Right.
So we get a lot of kids that are interested in archery because of these movies,
right?
These fictional characters, and then it segues them into what we're doing. I get a lot of kids like that still reference. There's the superhero guy, Hawkeye.
Oh, I was gonna say Robin Hood or something.
No,
like that,
no, that's way past. So like Hawkeye, we get a lot of young kids that come in that reference Hawkeye, the girl from the Hunger Games, that want to get into archery because of that, which is awesome because then we can get them started the right way.
Sure.
Right. Which makes it cool. They've got an interest in something which evolves to the outdoor side of things, right? They become bow hunters rifle hunters or whatever it is, and then they can advocate for the hunting industry. They've got a good entry level into hunting. Right. But yeah, we saw a massive increase in crossbow sales whenever that was going on.
No kidding.
Yeah, dude, it was wild. So listen, during COVID, right, we had guys in New York City or New York. I don't know if they were in New York City. I'm pretty sure it was in the city. They were buying crossbows for home defense. So let me tell you one thing that you don't want to do with a crossbow. Leave it cocked for extended periods of time. So this is education.
That's a lot of energy.
So if you are a new individual and you look at getting into crossbows and you want to get into crossbows, that's perfect. Get into crossbows, do your research, understand crossbows. Crossbows are our number one service at our shop this time of year. No other time of the year, only during the season, because that's when you're going to have problems with them is whenever you're using them or whenever you get it and you don't know how to use it and then you got to bring it back to us to fix it. The amount of people that are leaving a crossbow cocked long-term in their closets, in their vehicles, in their garage when the season's over is insane. When you leave a bow cocked for that long, that amount of tension and energy on those limbs, at some point they've got to give. They are not designed to be stored loaded or cocked. And we have it every year where people bring them in. I don't know what happened. I just heard this massive bang in my closet and the bow blew up. It's like, you cannot do that. The other thing with crossbows is they got to be serviced, new strings, every year or every other year at the latest.
They need their clean lubricate and protect. You know what I mean?
Dude, like legitimately, especially as these new, like the Excalibur bows are awesome. I like the Excalibur crossbow.
They're the recurve limbs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're not ungodly fast. They're self-serviceable. There's not a lot of moving parts on them. They're reliable. They come with a fantastic warranty, better warranty than any crossbows in the market. And they hold up well. Your newer bows, like your wheel bows, your
Like Ravens, 10 points, all
these
them.
high energy bows, it's not a matter of if they're going to fail, but when.
Can I ask, is there a safety issue with that?
What do you
Yeah, you like are these things dangerous is what I'm getting at.
So look, I've had them blow up in my face. We've had them blow up on our feet, they're just seized up.
Yeah.
Like anything, they're dangerous. A vertical bow can be dangerous if it blows up on you in a press, or it blows up on you at full draw, or an arrow splinters. Everything comes with some kind of risk, right? Inherent risk. That's just part of anything we do. But yes, I would say your crossbows, especially from the tech side, are more dangerous. There's just so much energy stored in these bows, and they're so compact, right? Like these bows aren't 24 inches wide anymore. These things are,
they're like this. They're from like wheel to wheel are right next to each other.
Yeah, they're like 10 inches, some of them. Crazy, 12 inches, whatever. So there's a lot of energy in there that could potentially, it's got to go somewhere if it blows up, and it does. I mean, we've seen it. I've never seen anybody hurt from them. It's just the fact that it's in your face when they blow up, that something could potentially happen. So I would say that they are more dangerous than a vertical bow, just be the amount that we see blow up. I've got a pile of crossbows every year that come in with delaminated limbs, broken limbs, dry fired, broken strings, cables. It's just a massive, we see a massive influx every year this time of year. And I think a lot of it is self-induced. This comes back to not being proficient or understanding your equipment. A lot of people with crossbows, they put them up, they bust them out every year. They shoot them a couple times. They put them back up. They don't put new strings on them every year. They don't understand how to inspect them. And the big thing is with these new bows, they don't understand how they operate. When they're binding the tethers up in there, they're over cranking, over cocking. They just don't fully understand because there's so many steps. It's like some of them are like 6 to 8 steps to shoot it, right? And if you only shoot it once a year and you forget those steps, go back the next year.
You're going to forget.
You do. And then we see issues with it. And, there's a lot of... I see a lot of upset people every year because of crossbow malfunctions.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, I asked that question because when I was a kid, just getting into archery, at the store that was Bass Pro Shops, right? Yeah. I'll never forget this guy that worked there. Really super good guy. He ended up getting in some serious trouble, but he had a customer come in, wanted to buy a crossbow, and I guess they took the customer out to the shooting range. And I guess they fired a few bolts or whatever the case is, but he left the range. The employee of the store left the range and was like, "Hey, do not touch the bow while I'm gone." Well, don't touch the hot burner, kid. Right. You know what I mean? And the customer sustained a very serious injury.
Really?
Yeah, basically, like, I don't know the exact details, but the dude received a huge laceration to his forehead, bled all over the place, and so I think that kind of scarred me, as getting into hunting and everything.
So that was with a crossbow.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. I guess I could see that. So our job, we sell these bows in store, right? We also sell them on our website. You could go to extremeoutfitters.com and you could order a bow. We ship it anywhere to you in the country. But I would encourage people that buy crossbows always seem to want a deal, right? So we see a lot of people ordering them online, Bass Pro, Cabela's, what's the cheapest crossbow I can get, right? So, and they don't understand how they work, or they don't have anyone instructing them and teaching them how to do it. And I guess because we work with the people on it, I don't see the injury side of things,
right?
Because we walk them through every step. We show them, we put them on the range, make sure they're comfortable with it. But I guess I could see somebody who didn't know what they were doing, these being a lot more dangerous,
right?
Just because they don't understand how much energy is in their face.
Do people usually, when they hunt with a crossbow, do they like cock them before going out to the woods?
I think that depends on who you ask.
Right.
So some of them, yes, like the ones like the rope cocker ones where they're hard to cock or whatnot. And I think a lot of people do. They pre-cock them, they take them out, they haul them up their stand, which is crazy to me, pulling one up that's loaded.
That's my question. That's what's scary.
Some people do though.
Yeah, no, I don't like that idea at all. It seems sketchy.
Yeah, I mean, but like everything else, some people are willing to take more risk than others. I'm a prime example, right? So whenever I climb a tree, I disconnect completely from the tree.
Do you?
Yeah, I do. And people rag on me. I've had friends that have fallen out of stands and stuff like that. I disconnect. So I just use, currently, this is the way my setup is for getting in a tree. I have, I wear a saddle, but I use a lock on, and I take like a hybrid approach, right? So when I climb the tree, I use my lineman's belt to climb. Then my lineman's belt is also my tether that secures me to the tree.
Yeah.
So whenever I get up, I have to hook into my bridge, and then I disconnect from one side and I wrap around and turn and use that lineman's belt as my tether. So I have to disconnect for a minute. Not everybody agrees with that.
I mean,
that's risk. That's risk that I'm willing to take that risk. Do I have to? No, but I don't want to carry that other tether.
It's kind of similar for me, because you know what I'll do is when I get up into my tree, I still have my lineman's belt on, but I actually use that lineman's belt to clip into the tree for my harness, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So I run it through. So I'm disconnected for a short period of time as well. You know what I mean?
So that's how I am.
Yeah. But I gotta be honest, I'm trying to come up with better ways to do that. Maybe carry another one of those, lineman's belt or something like that, so that way I can stay connected, you know.
But that goes back to, like, that's how I used to. I had a tether and then a lineman's belt, and then I would never disconnect. But I didn't like carrying that other tether. I mean, yes. So there's risk with everything. It's how much risk you're willing to assume, and some people are willing to take more risk than others.
Right.
I don't know where we're going with that, but that's where we ended up.
Yeah. We started with the hauling the bow up the tree.
The
risk.
So, I mean, the great thing about the new bows too that you look at, like, is the technology. The technology is good and bad, I think, right? You get more energy out of the bow. These bows are much more likely to blow up from what I've seen. We're talking to customer service nonstop. But the other great thing is you can crank these bows way easier. So you remember, if you ever try to use a rope cocker on a crossbow, some of them are hard, man.
Right.
And if you're not tall, you've got to pull that thing way up.
Right. You gotta do your stretching beforehand,
dude.
You know?
Yeah. But like these new bows where you have the crank systems in them, I mean, like, kids can do it. It's cool.
Kidding.
So guys who are actually hurt, shoulder injuries, young kids, females who aren't that strong, older people, they can crank these bows so much. Anybody can do it, right?
Kidding.
It takes it down from like 100 and some pounds to like 5 pounds to crank
Really?
this. Super
like
manageable.
spinning a little like fishing reel like that?
Yeah, you just crank it up.
How about that?
It's super cool. So again, it allows more people to shoot crossbows. So
I still don't like them.
I don't know, man. I think they have their place. And that's where I guess you could look at it, man. And obviously it's state dependent. And a hunter should have a say in it, I think. You know, should crossbows have their own defined season, just not lumped in with the archery or firearms?
Yeah.
You know, should it just be its own separate season that is, you know, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think
it's a difficult debate.
It really is. And I think that people should have a say in it. In the state you hunt in, you should be able to get involved and say, you know, this is how we're going to do it. We have a majority of vertical bow hunters here that don't want crossbows lumped in with the season. Cool.
And we'll change it.
Yeah. Or that we got, you know, a state that's predominantly crossbow hunted.
They might kick conventional archers out,
or they're just lumped in together.
You can't shoot a compound. It's only trad gear and crossbows.
You know, or they're just lumped in together. Like I said, I don't really know what the answer is, but I do think they have their place, and I think they are an important part of the archery community and the hunting community as a whole, because like we've talked about, they allow people to get back in or get into the sport. It's a gateway into the sport. And then it's just a long term, I think it does us more good than harm, because we have more people to advocate for hunters and hunters' rights. And that's, again, important.
Yeah.
If we want to keep doing this thing, we got to have people that are pro hunting. The more people we can have pro hunting, the more access to public land we're going to have. The more people are going to advocate for hunters' rights, the less we got to deal with these anti-hunter crazies running around doing wild stuff. And people see the value in hunting and why it's important to American culture, people, and why it's important just as a whole.
Right. I think we're going to slap the table on the pros outweigh the bads, you know, with the crossbow thing.
I do, man. It comes to education. The more people are educated on them and they're not just last minute with them, the better it'll be. And I think that's the starting point. If you're a crossbow hunter and you want to change people's minds, you need to start with being more proactive with your equipment, not being last minute. If you're somebody new that's getting into it and you want to hunt with a crossbow, I would say do your research, invest in a good bow, take your time to learn that bow, but even more so, take your time to learn what it means to be a good and respectful hunter while you're getting out and getting in the woods.
Yeah, no, totally agree.
Yeah. So it's a tough one, man. It just, again, back to the technology side of things. At some point, I think there has to be a line drawn, though. And I think some states do take that into consideration, right? Because some states you can't use those Garmin sights. Some states you can't use lighted nocks.
Isn't there some states no expandables as well?
No expandables. Yeah. I don't know.
I don't understand the idea behind that, but whatever.
I don't either. I think especially now with the study that came out for James Yates and the guys at Easton, the aeroballistic. I think that should change a lot of people's mind when it comes to mechanical.
Right.
Personally, I think mechanical for majority of people is a better move. Just to, again, heartache and headache, you're going to have a lot less of it with a mechanical broadhead. That's not to say the guys that understand the tuning process, tuning fundamentals, and basic broadhead tuning capabilities, they can shoot whatever they want, right? They're comfortable with it. They're confident, but they've done their research and they understand how it works.
Yeah.
Versus the guy that just wants to slap a head on and go hunt. If you're going to do that, put a mechanical on there all day, like a meat, something like that.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah. So technology, I don't know, man. I don't know where you draw the line. I don't know what the answer is. But from just the conversation, I would like to hear from more people what their thoughts are on it, and not just a hard no.
Right.
Leave
it in the comments.
Yeah. Leave in the comments, like legitimately why you are or aren't for this, kind of this crossover, and like, what's your reasoning, right? If you can step back and like logically think about it, not just
I just don't like it.
That's not a good answer.
No, it's not.
There's a lot of things that I just don't like that are important too.
We want sustenance.
We do. Step back and think about it. Like, why are you actually against it? And what's the good does the good outweigh the bad? Does the bad outweigh the good with it? Do we just need to do away with it and separate them altogether? I'm very curious. Leave some comments, give us some feedback on it. Because I think it's an important topic. And it's a topic that a lot of people are passionate about, but I don't think they know exactly why they're passionate about it.
Right.
So maybe this will open up some of the discussion, because I have not seen a lot of anything about crossbows.
Yeah, not much debate out there.
There's not much debate. I've seen some articles on it about the actual rules and laws being changed, and then I see memes.
Yeah. Like, see what New York did? Losers.
Yeah. I don't know, man. There's a lot. What else you got? Anything else we haven't covered? Any thoughts?
I hope everyone's season's going good.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too, man. Do we got a hurricane off the coast right now?
It was initially, and then it kind of made a loopsies, and it's kind of going back out. But
yeah, I'm curious to see what the hunting's like this week.
Yeah. My season's been pretty interesting so far.
Yeah,
so.
As has mine. Started off really strong, then not so much. Kind of slow here lately. But.
Same thing. Yeah, my first sit, I was like, I saw that giant that I was after, and then womp, womp, womp. Like, ever since then, a lot of stuff going wrong.
That's how it's been for me. And all the people I've kind of watched, they're like, yeah, it's kind of slow.
Yeah.
So I'm hopeful after this storm pushes off that maybe there'll be some good movement.
Yeah, I think this weekend, I think we're looking at a little bit cooler temps. So
I haven't even looked, man. Like, if
we got a couple low 60s coming in.
Yeah, Thursday in the morning's 57.
Well, I'll be working, so.
Yeah, so will I. Yeah, it looks like we're dropping off a little bit. The rain's supposed to subside Tuesday.
Yeah.
We shall see, man. I'm excited. I'm excited for the season. If you're a hunter, man, I hope everybody just gets out there, enjoys it. It's almost muzzleloader. Has muzzleloader opened it here?
I don't think so.
Not yet. It should be soon.
Yeah.
So that's it. That's all I've got. Kevin, I appreciate your time, my friend.
Absolutely.
Go home and get some sleep.
Yeah.
So that's it, guys. The big crossbow debate. Drop some comments. Give us some feedback. What do you think about New York and their change in rules and laws allowing crossbows to be available for the full archery season? Give us some feedback. As always, we appreciate you guys listening, and we will see you guys in the next episode of The Archery Project.